Hi, my name is Joyce. I'm 30 this year and I've started Between. It's a social media agency and yeah, that's what I do. I think who I am now is very, very different from who I was growing up. I think I would never imagine myself being able to do this or even be able to speak in front of a camera. I think since age 3, I was actually bullied in my class because I was wearing like bright pink specs. I think I was the only kid who was wearing glasses, and then I think somehow they decided to pick on me. Yeah, but then as a child, I didn't really know how to stand up for myself because at home also I was like taught kind of not to stand up for myself. So I think that was the kind of childhood that I kind of grew up with. Yeah, I was conditioned to believe that it was best to just lay low and not rock the boat. I think the major factor was also definitely my parents. Even though they have the best intentions, but I think they also kind of like had a lot of expectations, especially coming from post-World War II, right, from Malaysia and Hong Kong, and then they came to Singapore. I think they definitely brought a lot of their own hurts into their marriage. So they were always fighting, and I think it was leading up to my 10th birthday. So I was very excited because I was 9 years old, and then finally it's like 2 digits, 10th birthday. So I think I excitedly ran up to my parents. I think they wanted to ask me what I wanted to eat. So I wanted to just kind of talk to them, and then I didn't know that they were in the midst of like a heated argument already, or they were just talking about something quite serious. And then the next moment I know my mom just got up and she just left the room, and I had no idea what happened. But the first feeling I had was like a really sinking feeling that oh no, it's my fault, or I said something that caused this to happen. So I just remembered running to the toilet, then kind of traumatized, and then thankfully I was quite stupid, so I just took whatever, I grabbed some knife from the kitchen, but it was a butter knife. So obviously it couldn't really do anything, but I really just at the toilet floor kind of feeling very, just wanted to end it and just really just kind of numb myself from feeling. So I think I just end up kind of crying in the corner and wanting to block out every feeling because I felt like I was the one who caused it again. And I think it kind of made me feel like the only way to really be heard is to earn the right to kind of be heard is if I kind of performed or I did something well. So I think that's how when I was young, I felt if I did well in my studies, then I kind of have earned myself a voice. So I tried very hard for PSLE, but even then I still really disappointed my mom. And because of that, when I went to secondary school, I told myself I was not going to have any friends. So the first year of secondary school, while people were oh yeah, playing, I was really studying every single day, just so that I could I think I got second in the level or something. Then I think that was only time where I felt okay, I can kind of earn the right to really maybe have more of a voice with my mom. So I was always striving to get approval, and I think that kind of also spilled over to my friends in secondary school. By Sec 3 and Sec 4 I was trying to make more friends, but I think I was always also trying to earn their approval. So I think that's how it kind of shaped me to be. Since young, I felt all these things was very unfair. Then I think finally when I hit university, because I could finally move out of the house, I stayed on campus in NUS. I think when that happened, I thought, oh yay, finally there's freedom. I thought finally I can do what I want to do. I don't have to conform. But I think I really went the extreme because I think there was so much need to be heard, or I don't even know what's my voice. So I just ended up joining all the groups, all the activities, trying to fit in. So I would just be going partying 3 times a week. We'll just get drunk so that and I think it was the cool thing to do at that time. And I think it was just an escape. An escape, trying to numb and distract myself from all the hidden insecurities and things that I didn't want to face, or even just come to terms with actually who am I as a person. So I found that my way to cope was to actually have many different personalities, because weekends I still have to go home. So I still have to go and be put on the good girl front with my mom and tell her everything is fine at school. So I learned to say the right things in front of her, just to tick the boxes. But then in hall, I was another person with my partying friends. Then I was another person in front, I had like my church friends, and I think with each group I had to hide like a different aspect of who I was so that I would like fit in to their expectations of me. And then because of all this, I didn't even have space to think of who am I for myself. Yeah, it was always just trying to distract from the inner pain and having to deal with it. I think maybe the deep sense, of needing to know what's my authentic voice. Yeah, so I was afraid maybe that if they heard my true voice, that they would not accept me. Maybe I felt like if they heard my true voice, like it would kind of shatter their impression of what they thought I was. So I think, yeah, or if they knew that I had another side of me, they wouldn't really accept me at all. Yeah, so I think maybe it was that as the underlying fear. So I think when I finally traveled, and it was like this program where I went to 14 different countries on a ship, yeah, and you sail around the sea, and with 500 people from around the world. And I think I remembered, yeah, just having that mindset that really YOLO, like just you only live once, I'm just gonna do everything that I wanted to do with no one to be accountable for. And yeah, it felt what I thought was, it felt like freedom. So it was kind of what I thought was freedom. I did everything you can imagine. I think I took drugs, I did bungee jumping, I got drunk in different places around the world. I definitely did some like good things. Like I even in some countries I went, I really discovered like this kind of nature. I discovered different cultures. But I think through it all, I was very restless. Where I remember I wouldn't even be able to be still. Like if it was a Friday night and I was not doing anything, then there's something wrong. Yeah, so I think deep down it was really like just a desire to prove who I am, or even just I think I wanted to also, I didn't address it, but I was actually kind of trying to run away from the insecurities instead of really facing up to who I was. So it sounds very nice on paper, and it could sound very nice on social media because it's like, oh wow, it's like you're traveling the world, you're discovering more about yourself, like that's so great, like and so on the outside, I think people could felt as though like, oh, Joyce is discovering more about herself and she's really growing and discovering and like living the free life, right? But I think it's not really a free life if deep down you're actually running away from yourself and running away from facing certain things, and you don't have the time and the space to sit down and just face it. But I would say that at the end of the day, like it's also a false sense of security. Like I just felt like I was, it's still a performance at the end of the day. Yeah, it wasn't really for myself. When I finally got into a committed relationship, it kind of forced me to face and integrate my life, because now suddenly, the person you are with, your partner will be the same. You have to bring your partner, your friends. I also remembered, while having my 21st birthday, I really hated it because I have to accommodate like my family who is here, and then I have to also like say hi, entertain my partying friends, and then like my church friends, and then like my primary school friends, and then different friend groups. Yeah, so I just remember feeling so tired. Like I didn't even feel like I was really enjoying myself because I always had like a different personality with different groups. So I think that was so very telling of who I was. I think at that point I also kind of realized that I was really not, in a sense I was not ready. Yeah, I think through the relationship there was so much fights, and I know a big part of it came from me not being ready to be one integrated person. And I remember a moment where I was just writing in my journal, and I think I was in nature, and I asked myself to write down, who am I? So I actually wrote down 3 things about myself. Like I wrote down like adventurous, creative, and then I wrote down like likes to connect with people. So I wrote these 3 down, but I was very uncertain because I felt like, is this really real me or is it the fake me? But then when I actually wrote it down, I realized that no, I think it will be the same. I feel like it will be the same 3 things to describe myself. And then I was wondering, then what is the problem here? How come I still feel like I'm not my real self? Yeah, and then I realized that the gap or the real reason was the motivation behind it. And I think it was very powerful because as a turning point, because I think at that point like God really showed me that I was creative because to express the beauty of the earth, to express the beauty of how God created me to be. And I think I was adventurous because life is an adventure, and I think it's just being able to really I think being able to face uncertainties together with a purpose. And then finally, the part about being connected, I realized was ultimately to be a bridge to share like a greater love, a greater source of love to people. That was my turning point when I realized that the motivation for who I was, or I justified who I was, came from places that, a place of restlessness, a place of insecurity. The old freedom I thought I had was, YOLO, to do all the cool things, to not have like physical boundaries, right? Whether it's bound by your home, bound by expectations, bound by Singapore. But I realized that the true freedom is that you have the freedom to not perform. At the end of the day, the biggest safety net is really God, and knowing, not just God, but knowing who I am, who I was created to be. That approval itself is greater than all the approval of different people in my life. In the journey starting between, I have to say like it started off very small, and then I thought, oh, I'm just gonna freelance for a while. Like I just thought it was a temporary thing. I mean, we're at that age, right, where there's like quarter life crisis. Like, do I really want to do this? What's my purpose? And a lot of these questions were going around. And I think at that point, I realized that I might not have figured it out yet, but I do, and I know that I want to give others opportunity to also have a space to figure that out. So I think at that point, I really had to make that decision. Like, okay, am I going to take this risk? When am I going to take the risk to actually involve other people? Am I going to take the risk to like grow the team? Even if I really try a business and it really flops, and maybe people laugh, people like even family say like, oh, I told you so, you shouldn't have started it, right? I think I had to come to terms and really have to have difficult conversations with myself that at the end of the day, like I wouldn't have felt that was a waste of time. At the end of the day, I would have felt it was worth it even if it failed. I think because the business is so, it takes up all your time and all your headspace, so it can also become another form of security. And I have to check myself a lot of times when I realize, hey, how come when the client gives this feedback and it's negative, I can just like spiral down? Or like if someone leaves the company, you can feel like you can spiral down also, because you feel like, oh no, am I not doing well enough? Am I not good enough? And then it kind of forces me to check like, oh, so actually am I putting my security in the company now? It might be a dream that is given by God, but I'm trying to maintain it by my own strength, and I'm trying to maintain it by myself. And I think that becomes a very shaky foundation. Throughout these past 2 years as doing a business, I had to face that, even criticism from my parents, who, they are like, they out of love will tell me things like, oh, maybe at some point you should give up, maybe at some point if it's getting too difficult, you look very tired, maybe you should like consider like going back to normal employment where it's safer. So there is some sense of guilt sometimes, but I also know a lot of times it's the insecurities that is speaking rather than really like a real conviction in my heart. That's the greatest gift in a sense, that of knowing who I am without being affected and without being shaken by every little comment from different people, instead of focusing on the insecurities and beating yourself for those and asking yourself like, why do I feel so insecure about this and that, and trying to pretend they don't exist. I think a better way around that, or what I would say, is to just even be present. And I just want to like also assure everyone that it's normal to have insecurities every day. And there is so much value inside of you, and there's so much gold that that maybe you yourself have not realized. Like I didn't realize that I had that all these things that I thought the world wouldn't accept, these things that I thought people wouldn't accept about me, but they turn out to be the very things that people do cherish about you. If you would let them see that side of you. So would like just to encourage people to just be themselves and be comfortable with who they are at this present moment.